Welcome. It is so good to be back and to see everyone here. Let us begin. Today's morning inspiration is called Breaking the Loop. That's what we're doing. We're breaking the loop. This is a popular question. We feel like we keep doing the same thing over and over again, and we can't change. Well, what is a loop? A loop is that thing that you keep doing all the time. It's just that thing. You keep doing it. Why? Because you've always done it. So, how do you change the loop? Well, clearly, if the loop is doing the same thing over and over, then to break the continuity of the loop, you must do something different. You must do something different. For example, if the loop is tardiness, well, then start being on time. Well, how do you start being on time? Set your alarm a little bit earlier. This is what it is to break the loop. We think that breaking a loop is challenging. The thing that is challenging is not the loop. You made the loop. I made the loop. So to change the loop, you must change your mind. When you change your mind, you change the action. Think about that for a moment. If you say, well, I want to do this thing, well, then you have to start doing it. And the more you do it, and the more that you do it, and the more that you do it, the easier it becomes. This is the key to breaking any loop that you think you have in your life. So take a moment to just glance through your life, just skim through the Rolodex. What is it that you think you're stuck doing? See, here's the thing. We're not stuck. We're not stuck. It may appear that we're stuck because we keep doing the same thing. But to get unstuck, you have to do something different. Something different is required. Well, what do you know? What do you know to do that's different? That depends on what you're dealing with at the time. Whatever you're dealing with in that moment, remember, the seed of the solution is in every problem. So if you have a problem, name your problem. That's how you change it. You have to name it. You have to look at it and go, you know what? This is a problem. And when you see that it's a problem, well, then the solution is clearly on the other side of polarity, which is a slightly higher vibration. So this is how we break the loops in our lives. I know it seems challenging, but the beauty of the loop is this. It shows up one at a time. It shows up one at a time. You're never going to get 20 loops for you to break all at the same time because you're not looking in 20 directions. You're looking in one direction at any given time. So when something presents itself, it means you're looking at it. And now that it has your attention, what do you want to do with it? You see, we think sometimes, but you don't know how long I've been dealing with this. I heard someone say, I forget who said it, but I think they're a psychologist. Fancy topic, eh? Fancy name, psychologist. What do you think that is, psychology? The study of the what? The mind. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. So, if memory serves me correctly, they were saying that, some of us, we live in a perpetual state of whatever that thing is. We're always in that state. It's familiar, it's safe. So we do it every time. And we keep doing it and we keep doing it and we don't change. the loop. See, the loop is always there. And so they're saying that the reason why some of us don't change, not only because we don't know how to change, but because we're afraid to change, because familiarity is what is appreciated by the body. You know, habit. Habit. The loop is the habit. It doesn't matter what fancy name you come up with. The question is always, are you doing the same thing the same way every time? Yes. Well, then you have a habit on your hands. The habit is how we thrive, really and truly. It makes things easier for us to accomplish. This is why the caution is to choose the habit that you want. Because once you set that loop in place, you're going to need a really powerful mind change because we get comfortable. We get comfortable. Familiarity. We get comfortable where we are. And because we're comfortable where we are, it is predictable. And because it is predictable, we feel safe. So sometimes we can lull ourselves into a state of false security. The loop. But then you get to a point in your life where you say, oh, but I don't want to. You know, that's what we say. But I want to be different. And then when you start doing the new thing, what happens? Man, this is taking too long. How come I can't change fast enough? Why is it taking so long? It's not that it's taking long as in time. It's taking long because focus is being disrupted. Stay where you have your mind. Keep it where you want it to be. Remember that. With polarity, wherever you're leaning the hardest is what you will experience. The vibration keeps you there, etc. This is the beauty of what we have. To look at our situations and assess them, examine. This is how you can recognize the loop. So, when you see the loop, that is not your cue to judge yourself or beat yourself up and condemn yourself. I'm never going to be any better. That is not what the recognition of the loop is for. The recognition of the loop is for you to choose, is for you to decide, is this the behavior I want to continue doing? That is what you're supposed to decide now. Yeah, but I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why I do it. Well, the reason why we don't know why we do it is because it started long, long, long ago. That's why. You know, it's been lost in the fray. The seed, the original seed has been lost in the fray. But the beauty of the fruit is it tells you what the seed is. So the beauty of the loop is it will tell you the original seed. This is what it will tell you every time. So what are you going to do? Will you allow the loop to keep running you over? Or will you become bold and say, wait, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. I can see what I have now, and I can see what I would prefer. That is the law of polarity, from to. We practice the art of observation and changing right there in that instant. If you've ever had to change a diaper, you know what I'm talking about. You don't just smell it and go, well, sucks to be you. No, you change it. Because the longer one festers, well, then we have to reap the repercussions of the festering itself. That's what happens if we don't change the loop. You see, sometimes we are afraid of change. And as I've told you before, if you are the one saying, well, I want to be here instead of there, what have you to fear? You are the one initiating it. You know how it will turn out. Well, how do you know how it's going to turn out? Causation tells you every cause has its effect and every effect its cause. So if you say, you know what, I'm going to start doing this behavior instead, I'm just going to persist in that behavior. Because clearly I can persist already. Look at how far I've come with persisting in that behavior. So let me persist in this one. But Angela, that makes it sound so easy. And again I say, how much more difficult do you want it to be? It's not supposed to be difficult. It is supposed to be a pleasure and a privilege. Why? Because you do not have to remain the same. That's why. But you see, we like to hold on, don't we? We want to be appreciated. We want to be cared for. We want to be loved. We want to be part of a community. But to whose detriment? To whose detriment? You keep holding on to this thing that you think can save you. When in actuality, it is a changing of your mind that will save you. Not the changing of friends, not the changing of family, but the changing of the mind. Why do you think there is such a war going on for your mind at the moment? Because it is your most powerful asset. Well, it's the only asset. Why is it the only asset? Because the all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. So if I can keep you in a loop, do you understand? If I can keep you in a loop, who has power over you? The person who has you in the loop. So the loop that you create, meaning the habit that you form, should be one of your design. Why? Because then you are in control of you. Do we not have a new king? He's sovereign, isn't he? So are you, so am I. He makes the rules, for the most part. That's another day. But he makes the rules, yes? Concerning himself and his family, does he not? He makes the rules. And then he makes the rules to govern the rest of us. So then the question becomes, how do I break out of this loop? I want to be sovereign. You don't have to want to be sovereign. You just need to recognize that you are sovereign. After all, we're cyber. Neville did say, the only reason why you don't have what it is that you want is because you refuse to accept it. Well, how can he say such a thing? What do you mean I'm stuck here because I refuse to accept it? There's no plainer English than what he just said. We refuse to accept it because the loop is safe. The loop is familiar. Understand the design of it. And when you understand the design of the loop, then you'll know, it's just doing its job. That's the purpose of the loop, to do a job, to keep you safe, secure in yourself. That is why you get to choose. Will I just have this one? Or do I want another? Let us take a moment to welcome everyone back into the space. I've missed you. Twitter, Claire, Meep, I see you. Thank you for being here. It's been a while. It's good to see your faces again. Fanbase, who do we have here? Yolanda, Zola, Oracle Treehouse, Matthias, My, Melanin, Miss McQueen, and Wet Series. Hello. Welcome to the space. It is refreshing to be back. Let's see who's here on YouTube. Not. I see you. Double A Vibes. Empress Ella. Synovia. Ruby. I see you. Let me scroll up and see who else is here. David. Hello. And Cyber. And for all the others who have not made themselves known in the chat, welcome back also. It is good to see you all. So today I trust that these things will begin to make sense to you. You are not stuck on a loop. You created the loop. You have the power to create the loop, which tells you what? You can change the loop you're currently in. This is what it will always tell you. This is what it means to be sovereign. There's nobody who's going to come along and tell you, okay, look, do it this way. Nobody's going to do that for you. You've got to be able to look at the situation you're in, assess it. Oh, I had time. I had time. Look at the situation you're in, not to judge it. You see, this is the part that, the stick in the spokes, if you will, the judgment. Oh man, I'm not good enough. I have been trying and trying. My life was better when I didn't know the law. Oh, how many times have I heard that one? My life was better when I didn't know the law. The law does not care. The law doesn't care about feelings. You know what the law cares about? As within, so without. As above, so below. Everything vibrates between two poles, a swing to and fro, creating a rhythm, an ebb and a flow. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. A projection of the will giving life, giving form. That is what the law cares about. Because if the law does not care about keeping the heavens above and the earth below, we gonna have problems. So the law is saying to you, fall in line, because I'm at work regardless. It doesn't matter if you believe the law. The law is not there for you to believe. It is there for you to know. This is why if you see the loop in your life, the law is saying to you, hey, I'm working right here. Is this where you want me to work for you? Is this the most effective use? That's what it's saying to you. Because the law is always on. For those of you in the northern hemisphere, the sun, right about now, is coming up. Well, we're turning. As the world turns, that sun is there. And we've gotten so good. Listen, we know when the next full moon is. We know when the next new moon is. How do you think you know when that new and full moon are? The law of rhythm. So you see, the law does not require you to believe it. The law requires you to observe and align. That's what it requires you to do. So when you see the loop in your life, know that everything is according to law. So the loop is there by way of law. Which law? Well, we should have memorized all 7 by now so that we can see them and go, oh, I see what's going on here. I see what's going on here. You get that? That loop. Cyber, I finally escaped the long tomorrow loop for starting my diet. After dwelling in the state of health, I found the strength to avoid carby foods, and my activity increased naturally. 5 pounds this week. See? You see what I'm saying? You see the loop in your life, and if you want to give the law personality, sure. If you must. Polarity says, oh, we're going to do this again, are we? Are you sure? Is that who you really want to be? And then you get to say, well, I have been thinking that I would like to make a change in my life. I mean, I really don't know where to start. Polarity says, where are you now? And you say, well, I'm here. I'm right here. I want to eat better. I want to be healthy. Oh, so that means you want to be over there. You want to be healthy. Well, what can you do first towards health? That is what polarity asks. What can you do first towards health? You recognize that you're behaving in an unhealthy way, and you choose one behavior that you deem to be unhealthy. If that means, well, I don't eat when I'm hungry, I just eat because I can. Oh, well, then you say, fine. When my body says to me, feed me, Seymour, I'll eat. Because that's my cue. I'm hungry, I'll eat. When I'm hungry, so that I'm satisfied. And then you start to say to yourself, well, what do I feel like eating? What does your body say? You see, cravings are good things. They tell you something about yourself. And then you say, you know what? I like this thing. And according to law, ebb and flow, there's never too much of one thing or too little of something else. It's always balanced. So then I don't gorge, I don't binge, I just take what I need. The next thing you know, oh, this walk invigorated me. Let me walk the same time every day. And then all of a sudden, you say to yourself, I changed my lifestyle. I broke out of the loop. No. How did you break out of the loop? By first recognizing that there was one, and then choosing the activity to disrupt it, and continuing with the new activity. That is what we're doing all day, every day, by way of law. Doesn't change. It is law. So now you see, the law does not require you to be its friend because it does not care. It doesn't give a lick about your feelings. Oh, but Angela, that's so cold. You want the law to care about your feelings? Or do you want the law to be consistent? Ah, the law is consistent. It will do the same thing the same way every single time. And the law is showing you how to be. The law does it the same way every time, so then you do it the same way every time. See, the only one concerned about friends and acceptance is us, as opposed to consistency, as opposed to faithful. The law is faithful. How much more unconditional love do you require than that? The law is faithful. You can set your clock to it. You can take it to the bank. The law is faithful because it does the same thing the same way every single time. Can you imagine if the law was like, you know what? I don't feel like it today. I don't feel like sunrise today. I don't feel like winter. I don't feel like spring either. I'm just going to be fall forever. Can you imagine if the law had an attitude like that? Ah, but we have an attitude like that. We have an attitude like that. And here's the good news. When you recognize your attitude, you don't judge yourself. You don't beat yourself up. You don't, I should be so much further ahead. No. You ask, where's my greatest example to be faithful? to be consistent. Oh, the law? You mean I can model myself after something? Ah, indeed. Indeed, I can model myself after something. The greatest teacher is the law. And again, you don't have to believe it. Open your eyes. And even if you were visually impaired, you would still know the law. Because you still have rhythm that you have to adhere to in your own life. Whether visually or audibly impaired is irrelevant. The law persists. So today, examine the loop in your life. Examine it. Don't spend time looking for somebody else's loop. It's not about someone else. What did Neville Goddard say? There's none to change but self. Huh? You, me. You see, knowing that you are the one creating the loop, knowing that I'm the one creating the loop, it emboldens you, does it not? Of course it does. Because what can you say when you look in the mirror? I did this, I can do something else. How do you know that you did it? Same action every time. That's how you did it. That's how we do it. This is how we do it. I couldn't help myself. Do you get what I'm saying to you? We do it. This is why awareness is so important. Become aware of what you are doing. 2190 is still going on, which means even though your habit may have been disrupted, get up and do it again. Continue on because you have already laid the groundwork for it. Nothing is lost. Nothing is lost. I trust today that these things make sense to you because I know we've spent how many decades? How long have we been alive? And we've been doing the same thing the same way every time because we were taught to do it that way. But you see, something beautiful happens when you comprehend how things actually work. This is why people come up with all these, oh, hack your life. How do you hack something? By comprehending how it works so that you can do the thing more efficiently and effectively. That's what it means. It's like fractions. They're just blah on the page. But when you comprehend them, then when you look at that page, things make sense. Now you can maneuver your way through any fraction that you'd like. Shoot, you can even build your own fractions. Why? Comprehension. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn was bold enough to write a book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. Why? Because she understood certain things about life. So when you understand or comprehend certain things about life, then you begin to behave differently. So that's why the loop is important for you, not only just to recognize it, look at it. Well, I don't know where the loop came from. I don't know its origin. Look at the loop and you'll see the seed that created the loop, because you cannot have an effect without a cause. That's why. Hello, Ty. I see you. Jeff, I see you as well. Pharaoh, Jamea, I see you. Nancy, I see you all. It feels so good to say your names. You see, there'll be a live stream Wednesday, I believe. I don't know what time yet. Bear with me. I'll post it soon. But we're going to talk about discovering these loops more, because I find that those loops, we think loops are bad. See, the minute I say, oh, that's a bad thing, I've judged it. It's neither good nor bad. It is, however, bringing your awareness to something. That's what it's doing. It is bringing your awareness to something. And your cue is, what are you saying? That's your cue. When you see the loop, your cue for the question is, what are you saying to me? My word, that's what you do. The loop is neither friend nor foe. It's just that, is it serving you optimally? Is it serving you optimally? Or is it just running you ragged? This is why we see these things. And you see what you're ready to see when your vibration is the same as it. I'll say it again. You see what you're ready to see when your vibration is the same as it. This is why you can be blind to something, because you can't see it yet because it's on a different frequency from you. You know that commercial? Taste it again for the first time. You begin to see things. That's why people can say, oh, when you're ready. Yeah, when you're a vibrational match. Why? Because everything is moving. Nothing stands still. This is law. So if your mindset is one of, you know what? I don't want to be there. I want to be here. Right? That's the first part. The recognition is always going to be first. You must see what you're dealing with, or else you're walking around in the dark, stubbing your toes at every corner. Every time. Ah, Ruby, well, Wednesday it is. We'll talk more about loops on Wednesday in greater detail, so that here's your homework. Write down what that loop is. Write it down. You have to be able to name these things. The awareness of it. Oh my God, you mean I do that? Yeah, write that down. Just jot it down. And you look at it. And begin to use polarity. What is polarity? From to. It is the swing of the pendulum. And what influences the swing of the pendulum for polarity? Vibration does. This is why hot and cold are the same. They're not different. People say, duality. You mean polarity? Duality would mean two things. Yes, dual. But for polarity, polarity is telling you the vibration is moving one thing. And it's moving that one thing on a spectrum. This is why love and hate are exactly the same. They're the same. It's just a matter of vibration that will show you where you are. You can either go from a hatred to a strong dislike, to a dislike, to, I can tolerate you. Strong like. All you've done is change the vibration. That's all you've done. That is the power that you have of polarity, and using it, recognizing it. That's what we do. We look at the thing because it's right in, that scripture that says, You're so busy looking at the speck of dust in somebody's eye, you can't see the plank in yours. Oh, yeah. The loop is the plank in your eye. The thing that we keep churning like butter. We keep just doing it and doing it and doing it day after day. And the funny thing is, we complain about doing it all day. Ah, oh, man, I should really know better. Ah, oh, this sucks. I hate my life. It's not your life that you hate. It is the loop that you don't know how to change that causes the frustration. But we're so dramatic, aren't we? I think we all have pogo sticks. We jump to conclusions. As I said, it's not your life that you hate. It is the loop that you feel trapped in. But if you can recognize the loop and name it, then you can break it. But that will mean I can't sit in the corner anymore and go, that's what it's going to mean. Again, you don't see the law crying in the corner because it doesn't have time for that. It must remain consistent. That is its design. That is the infinite loop that it stays on. It does not break it. But it teaches us how to make loops. That's what it does. So now we have to employ what the law is teaching us. What is the law teaching us? The all is mind, the universe is a mental creation. So what does that mean? It means you need to be clear about what it is. What loop do you want to create? Well, I don't know. See, that's usually how we respond. What do you want? I don't know. But mentalism tells us what? Be clear in what it is that you want. So even if you start your day with, well, clarity is my middle name, I'm always going to make sure that I know exactly what it is that I want. And if I don't know, I'm going to sit here till it becomes more clear. So once you get clarity, what's the next thing? Well, correspondence, as within, so without. But it all starts with what? Mental clarity. This is how we make loops. This is how we make them. Funny thing is, I didn't say anything about breaking them. Make them. Because when you give your attention to something, you keep it alive. So put your attention upon the new thing you want to create. What happens to the old thing? It loses its potency. Why? Because you're not looking at it. You're not looking at it. Okay, Frame, I see you. Yogi. Casey, I see you. So I trust that this makes sense to you today because it's imperative for our growth. I try not to throw politics anywhere, but I will say this. Do not be deceived to think that the law is not being used against you. The law is being used rather skillfully against the entire population. How? Because every time you turn around, there's a very clear and specific image being projected towards the subconscious mind. And that's why I say to you every single day, know the law. Memorize them. Because when you memorize them, you will begin to see them around you. And you'll be able to spot a projection, especially one that's not yours. And when you can spot a projection that is foreign, You don't pick it up and go, oh, this is mine. You don't do that. You look at it and you go, oh, snap. I see you. I see you. And you become like Neo in the Matrix and you bend. This is why it's important to comprehend what is happening. You see, you think that these laws are woo woo and magic and whatnot. No, they are not. They are cold, hard facts. Winter, spring, summer, fall, rhythm, love, hate, polarity, hot and cold polarity, vibration. It either feels good to your body or it does not. You ever walk by someone and it's like you're walking through a mist of something and it just riles you up, or you walk by someone and you're like, you feel so good. That's their vibration you're walking through. Heart Math Institute's telling us what? The heart can project an electromagnetic field how far from the body? That is vibration. You know, I didn't really like them. I just couldn't, or as they say in Barbados, my spirit didn't take theirs. Meaning, you didn't vibe with them. This is why it is imperative that you learn the law, because you are not the only one who's using it. Oh, but Angela, how can you be so doom and gloom? I'm not being doom and gloom. I'm telling you this for your very survival. Why do you think that scripture exists? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against what now? Powers and principalities. Where? In high places. Where's the highest place? Your mind. And this is why when I say to you, if you are not the one to create the loop that controls your actions, but you have one, who created it? Who created it? But here's a fun fact. You know why? Because if you understand anything about the human, you'll understand we become very complacent. We become stuck in our way. Or we say we want change, but we don't do it. That's why. So when I tell you today to recognize your loop and apply the law to change the loop, creating a new one that you would prefer, do you think now someone can come along and try and impregnate you mentally? No, because you will see it and you will gird your loins. You'll protect your subconscious mind. That is how one fights a war of the mind. It's a mental universe. You can't use weapons. It's a mental universe. So the weapon of choice should be the mind. But practice using your mind. So today, be encouraged to know this. You and I have the capability of doing what? Changing the loop that we are currently in. That is what we have the capability of doing. The law doesn't say, oh my God, this is so hard, I can't. But if you watch it, you'll see what it does. It starts with clarity. And because it has clarity, it can recreate the clearer image. And once it recreates that clear image, it keeps recreating that clear image and recreating it and recreating it and recreating it day in and day out. Well, then you and I must practice the same thing. Well, can you say that the law is disciplined? But of course, because it does it the same way every time. That's what it does. So that is what I will leave you with on such a beautiful morning. Ah, beauty queen Onika, I see you. I have missed you also. I have. So I trust that today made sense. If it doesn't make sense, well, you can slide into my DMs. You know, my link tree is in the description, or you can email me. And for those who want to learn more of the laws, if you want to do that on a much deeper level, again in my link tree, pop over to Patreon, and that's where we'll do it. Because not everybody wants to just yet. We do things when we're ready, don't we? When we're on the same frequency, we do things. So, you know where you're going to find me, because I'll be on YouTube for just a little bit longer. But let me say, Twitter, Meep, I see you. Pharaoh, Jeff, Yogi, it is so good to have reconnected with you. I know I've been gone for a minute, I know, but I'm back. So thank you for being here, Twitter. Thank you. Let me do that. And then on Fanbase, Yolanda Zola, Oracle Treehouse, Matthias, My Melanin, Miss McQueen, Malik, Jamea, KZ, Just T, Winner, I have to WhatsApp you. And Yaya, I see you. Thank you all for being here. Countdown initiated. 5, shea butter. 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love, Twitter and Fanbase. Twitter is closed. One hand is free. Fanbase, I love you. You know you can slide on over to YouTube. That link is in my link tree in the bio on Fanbase as well. I will see you soon. Yolanda and Zola, thank you for your assistance today, and thank you all for the love. I do appreciate you all. Much love. In YouTube, it's us. Let me pop over into the chat on YouTube. Hold tight. Oh, yeah, I'm in the chat with y'all now. So, I trust that today made sense because I know, I know, I get it. I comprehend. Sometimes these loops throw us for a loop, right? But it is that comprehension when you understand what is happening, the light goes on and you can say, oh, snap, I can fix this. But when you don't know what's happening, there's a level of overwhelm that happens when you don't know or when you don't understand what's going on. There's a level of overwhelm. And then because that overwhelm is there, we don't think that we can accomplish the change. When in actuality, a little bit of comprehension goes a very long way in helping us to create. Cyber, yes, that is my line, isn't it? Marjorie, I see you. You're part of the replay gang. And cyber, yes, the last remnants of gravy from the bowl is YouTube. It truly is. And that's why it is. Listen, sometimes when we look out into the world, we can say to ourselves, wow, life has really dealt me a blow, you know? And we feel the bow of our shoulders beneath that weight. But if we shrug, and how do you shrug off that weight of the world? You shrug off the weight of the world by recognizing what the heck is happening. Because when you see it for what it is, it can no longer overwhelm you or have power over you. That's what I'm trying to convey to you this morning. That knowing, when you know a thing, it's like, I know what to do, huh? It's like my dad when he hears an engine make a particular sound. He's like, I know what that is. Because he knows, because he's trained himself to do it. You know? Like if you're one who downloads messages, you know, you see visions, you hear things. The minute the spirit touches you in a different way, you're like, I know that feeling. Because you've trained yourself, you know. As opposed to it happening the first time, like with Samuel. When God called him, Samuel. He runs to Eli and says, did you call me? Eli was like, no, go play. Second time, third time, Eli says, I know what's happening. Next time you hear the voice, say, speak, Lord, your servant hears. So you see, when you know the voice, it doesn't scare you anymore. So when you know something, peace accompanies the knowing. So when you look at the loop in your life, you say, I know what you are. You remove the sting of the unknown from it. And then what does that do to you? It empowers you. It makes you feel stronger. Because why? You know what it is. It's not unknown. And that's where your confidence comes from, when you know a thing. Think about it. When you're sure of yourself, you walk into a room and you've got a swagger, don't you? Because you know what you know. But if you walk into that room and you're like, they know much more than me. I'm just little old me over here in the corner. And then you're scared. Exactly. That's why in Delphi they can tell you, know thyself. You'll know God. When you know yourself, you remove the fear of the unknown. That is what I'm wanting to convey to you today. See, these loops only seem powerful because we don't know what they are. But once you name a thing, well, then you know. If you don't know, now you know. Right? Is that not a beautiful feeling, a beautiful sensation in your body, a sigh of relief to say, I'm so glad I know what I'm dealing with now. That's what it is. When you learn something, right? When you learn something, you know yourself. So, I trust it makes sense for you today. Tonight, I think we're talking about Noah and the flood, aren't we? on Lance tonight. I do believe that's what we're doing tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We take a Bible story. Yes, a Bible story. Some things in there are historical, some things in there are non human. But what are we looking for when we touch Bible stories? We are looking for the law. That's what we're looking for. Where is the law in the Bible story so that we can apply it? Because some of us know the Bible really well, and that's how we learn, right? So if we look for the law, we'll begin to be able to apply these things to ourselves. Ah, Miss Peace, I see you. The better man. It's so good to see you also. So that's why. I'm not sharing the Bible because, no, I'm sharing the Bible because the law is in it. It does not matter which holy book you want to explore, my beautiful friends. It does not matter what holy book. Every holy book has the essence of the law in its foundation. That's what you're. That's what it is, right? Well, why is that? Why does every holy book? Well, all created things have the essence of the law. Why? Because the law is always on. Ah, Miss Peace, thank you for stopping by, darling. You can also be part of the replay gang and listen at your own leisure. It was a pleasure seeing you again, my dear darling. But I trust these things make sense to you today. And as I said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, slide into my DMs. Let's discuss it. Let's talk about it. Because there's so much to discuss by way of law. There's so much to discuss by way of law. The law brings peace. How so? How does the law bring you peace? Because the law is predictable. The law is sure. The law is clear. This is how it brings peace. And you have a great day also, Miss Peace. Thank you for stopping by. That is, you see, when you know the law, right? That's how come you can walk through this world and be bold. This is how you can walk through this world with straight shoulders, head held high, eyes forward, a firm handshake, sure of yourself, confidently. When you know the law, that's what it makes you do. It just, listen, the law will mold you and shape you into who you truly are. It does. But you can either go with it or you can dig your heels in. But I'll tell you this, the law's been around since time began. The law's been around for eons and eons and eons. Infinity, even. So you can't outlast it. So you may as well align with it. And that is how we begin to remake the desirable loop we want to live out in our lives. You see, imagine, if you will, you're standing in front of this tower almost, and it has, like an 8-track player? Oh dear. Maybe you don't know an 8-track player. You know how you had the plugs, like the operators used to have back in the day? Oh boy. What other example can I give you? It's a small disc or diskette. You're in front of this tower, and all you're doing Then a red light goes on. That's your cue to change the disc change the cartridge in the disc. And the thing, right? Change the cartridge. So the light goes on, you push the button, pop it out, you put a new one in. Oh, there's another red light. Push the button, pop it out, slide a new one in. Red light. Because every time you put a new one in, it goes green. It goes green when you put a new one in. And once it has expired, the red light comes on. You push the button, you pop out the old cartridge, and you slide in a new one. Those are loops. That's what you're doing with loops every single day. That is what you're doing with loops day in and day out. When the red light goes off, that's your cue to say, "Oh, I see you." And you pop it out and you put a new one in. That's all you're doing. That's, that's all you're doing. Whether in this realm or the next, it is always going to be the same. The law is the same. Cyber, what are you saying? Cyber says, since you mentioned visions, I must say I had one of you doing a talk in front of a huge crowd of people alongside Mitch Horowitz and Brian Scott and other notable figures. Cyber, really? Well, that's exciting. That is very exciting. Well, I love the sound of that. I do love the sound of that, Cyber. That is brilliant. Those are people I look up to. I was talking to my bestie the other day, and you know how sometimes this goes right along with what you're saying there, Cyber, because sometimes we feel inadequate. We feel like, oh, I don't know enough. Like, look at Billy Carson. How much research has this man done? Like, good God Almighty. Then you've got Matthew LaCroix. You've got Eric Von Daniken. Brian Scott. All of these people have done things. And so I was saying to her, well, you know what? I did do my own. I am me. I ended up going to school to take traditional Chinese medicine. I just did. I don't know why, because I didn't know the law at the time. I just felt this urge. I just had this desire. My grandfather was still alive at the time. And I just had this desire to go to school and take it. I wanted to be a midwife, but they didn't have that program in the city. And then I was scrolling through, I'm like, I don't want to do naturopathy. I don't want to do chiropractic. I don't want to do any of those things. What can I do that's all inclusive? And then I saw TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. I said, well, what is this? And so I went to school, and I swear, like, since day one, I was hooked. Because there's this book by Huang Di, the Yellow Emperor. Huang means yellow. And so that's his name, Huang Di. And I forget the name of his book, but I do own it. And he said one thing. You all know what he said to me? Well, in the book, he said, the doctor cannot heal the body. And my response was, oh, so why am I taking medicine then if I can't heal the body? The Yellow Emperor said, the doctor cannot heal the body. The doctor must heal the mind. And I was like, wait, what? I don't understand what you're saying. What do you mean, heal the mind? So then I started to poke around at Confucius. Then I poked around at Lao Tzu, the art of war. And then, for some reason, I think Esther Hicks came into the situation. I don't quite recall the trajectory or the bridge of incidents, Cyber. I don't remember all of it. But then I ended up with the Emerald Tablets. And you know how it is, right? You can't just read that once. You got to read it a couple hundred times. And I'm still in school, and I'm like, but wait, what? And so for me, treating people, when the Yellow Emperor says, and he also said, well, as above, if you have a blockage above, then there's a blockage below. And I'm like, what now? And that is the law, the mind. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. So he says you can't heal the body, you've got to heal the mind. And I'm like, what? And then he says if you have a blockage above, then you have one below. Hey, Bree. And I was like, where is he getting this information? And my curiosity got the better of me, and here we are, learning the Hermetic principles, the principles of creation. All because I had this inclination, because I did not know the law at the time. But I do know I had an inclination to learn traditional Chinese medicine. And where's the law? Oh, all throughout the medicine, everywhere. And I marvel at it. And so the reason why I totally went off on that tangent, Cyber, is because I was saying to my bestie, all of these people, the ones that you've mentioned here, Mitch Horowitz and Brian Scott, all of these people have done all this research. They've done all of these things to to show you their foray into where they are. And I said to her, but wait, because really and truly, I always thought, no, I don't have those kinds of qualifications. I'm not a historian. I'm not a geologist. I'm not any of those people. I'm not Edgar Casey. I'm not any of those people. But I am me, and this is how I found the law. And because now I grew up with grandparents who, you know, were elders in the church and leading worship and scripture, I developed a memory. I developed a curiosity for things. And that is the skill I use to teach everybody else, including myself, how to apply the law. And so when you said that to me this morning, Cyber, I have to say thanks because that used to be a loop for me, feeling like, why do I never remember that term? Imposter syndrome. That used to be a loop because I always felt like, oh man, I don't have enough qualifications. Who's going to take me seriously? Blah, blah, blah. That is how I used to feel. That was the loop. But then I realized I am good at what I do because I have to teach my boy, I have to teach me. And then people would ask me questions, and I'm like, well, if you look at it through the lens of the law, it should turn out this way. So I had to get past the loop of not being good enough or feeling valid or qualified enough. So when you said that this morning with their names in it, those specific people, it flashed me back to my own foray of how I got into the law. And so I suppose, Cyber, it is only a matter of self-impregnation, isn't it? Because there's no one really. There's Mark Passio. Oh yes, Mark Passio and John. They teach the law in its raw form, just like I do. So thank you for that. I truly appreciate it. I truly, truly appreciate it. And no, you won't absolutely die, Cyber, but you shall live to partake in it. Right? So that's all I wanted to tell you today. I thank you all. And you know what? It is so good. It is so good to be back. Oh, believe me, I learned a whole heck of a lot. I sure did. Oh, yes, I did. I learned a lot about myself. There's none but the self, right? So, I will see you tonight. Lance Scurv, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What are we going to be talking about? Noah and the flood. That's what we'll be speaking about. Noah and the flood. by way of the law. That's what we'll do. So I look forward to seeing you tonight. And then remember, Tuesday night, is it 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we do feeling the thought. We hit the bowl. Yes, we do. And then on Wednesday, we have that live stream. And we're going to be divesting and digging into loops. So remember, if you have a loop that you find that you're slightly stuck with, bring it. Write it down and bring it. And you can email me. I'll keep you anonymous like I always do. And we'll do step by step, step by step. Ooh, baby. Sorry. That's what I'll do on Wednesday. I'll set that up shortly so you guys can click the notify me when it's time for that on Wednesday. And I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you for being here on such a lovely morning. Yeah, the sky is bright blue right now. Bright blue it is. Yes. I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Much love. Bye, Bree.